This is Giles Corran, pampered metropolitan foodie and sometimes journalist, who's never done a hard day's work in his life.
My God's alive!
And this is Sue Perkins, part-time comedian and part-time vegetarian.
Left-hand side, please, sir.
Stop! Following in the muddy footsteps of Tom and Barbara in the hit comedy The Good Life, we took a suburban house and filled it with chickens, goats,
Oi!
and pigs.
If one of these things craps on me, there will be trouble.
All in the name of 70s-style self-sufficiency.
Oh, no.
We also tried to grow vegetables,
That was rubbish.
but that didn't work out so well.
It looks like a Muppet.
Nor did our various attempts to generate money.
Sounds distinctly Bob Cratchit.
So what will happen in winter? How do you have a 1970s-style Christmas when you don't have much cash?
OK, so here's the science bit. It's not actually the 1970s, or winter, or even my real hair. But that's not going to stop us trying. We're going to be revisiting childhood pleasures of the 70s.
How often did Leslie dress up like that?
I never saw her dressed as that.
Not often enough for you.
Attempting craft works we've not done since our school days.
Mine is properly like a thing done by a 4-year-old.
And with any luck, still finding time to eat, drink, and be merry.
Walnut!
If you're writing to Father Christmas, tell him he can park his reindeer in the pigsty if he likes.
I'm just totting up what Christmas has cost us.
Oh, dear, yes, of course, it's got very commercial, hasn't it?
Terribly.
Yeah, well, let me sit down first. Now then. Right, what's the total?
15p.
What was that for?
The balloons!
With no money, and with Christmas fast approaching, we're going to be making everything ourselves. And that includes decorations.
Basically, Robin in a combine harvester.
Christmas is saved.
You've got Thumbelina's Christmas tree. You've done good. I'd get up, but in these trousers...
How about that, then?
That's not bad. I made some ankle bracelets for the local Asbo kids.
I think it might need to be repotted.
Wow, that is dry.
Do you know... Right. That was exciting. They're very nice lights. I'm wondering if we should get a big pop star like Jimmy Osmond to turn these lights on next year.
Well, he's so small, perspective-wise, that will make that tree look enormous.
There we go.
I mean, that does now look like some kind of festive dungeon.
Slightly lopsided, you know what I'm saying? The left-hand one is a sort of double D, and that's more of a C cut. There's a slightly
Great.
overhanging.
You're just randomly pinning things up to a wall.
Well, I don't know. Our attempts at Christmas decorations are slightly lacking in sparkle, so it's time to call in an expert. We've tracked down a man who's been at the self-sufficiency game much longer than us. A man who, in the blink of an eye, can transform a toilet roll and a washing-up liquid bottle into the Millennium Falcon. It's 1970s Blue Peter presenter, Peter Purvis.
Hello! It's like all my Christmases come at once.
It's
Here
Valerie
you come.
Singleton.
You brought some coat hangers. Have you come to castrate the turkeys?
Well, a few things we can't make.
If there was one TV show that embraced the philosophy of the good life and self-sufficiency in the 1970s, it was Blue Peter.
Whoops, I ripped it. That's a good start.
And there was no greater make and nothing more iconic than the Christmas Advent crown.
And if you missed the Blue Peter programme where Johnny showed how to make this Advent crown, just a reminder that all the tinsel and decoration on it is flame-proof, so it's quite safe for these candles.
We've got all the...
Unfortunately, it looks like we've got the wrong Blue Peter presenter.
I never made the Advent crown. Johnny Noakes made it at least twice, 3 times probably. Leslie made it, Val made it. I never made it.
What are you doing here, then? We're going to have to... Should we just make it and you don't have to bother?
No.
Why break your duck?
I know
Why break
how
your...
to make it.
Oh,
I
right,
just
fine.
never have. It's very simple. All we have to do is make a framework, cover it in tinsel, put some bits on the end so that the candles will stand in them. It really isn't more difficult than that. It'll take us about, I don't know...
6.5 days?
Yeah.
OK.
You wire these together.
The Advent crown may be a classic, but without the television magic of Here's One I Made Earlier, It's not long before the desire to wind tinsel around a coat hanger starts to wane.
And through.
Tedious, isn't it?
Just keep on going until
Oh, all right.
it's covered. And,
Peter, I've never, ever been so bored in my life.
Isn't it tedious?
It's that kind of robotic, monotonous stuff that I really excel at. Giles,
Wire it.
Still doing that same coat
you're the
hanger?
only person I know who can look at a Blue Peter annual from 1973 and view it as pornography.
Yeah, and it's pretty hot.
How can you possibly find that sexually alluring?
Look at her. Look at her.
They're very attractive ladies, look at that.
Look at her gripping her handle.
Just thinking about her tossing technique.
Yeah. And how often did Leslie dress up like that?
I never saw her dressed as a
Not
nurse.
often
I
enough
never
for
met
you.
her.
That's something like that should be available to children.
Well, I might have solved at stages along, so you don't have to just keep on wrapping it round.
Peter, I want you to know that I will never, ever get the last half an hour of my life back again doing
You won't?
that.
No, it's tedious, but you're doing ever so well. I can't tell you how well
almost
you're doing.
comatose now.
Oh, dear.
Oh, Peter.
Well, no, look, it's nearly there.
It is nearly
It's
there.
nearly there. Right, the next thing we've got to do, though, is to add the candle holders. And all these are, so see these sort of chutney lids. We've got to wire this around. Well, it might.
This is tried and tested.
It might.
4 candles, a flame, holding in a chutney thing
Yes.
on a
Yeah.
candle
Yeah.
thing.
That's what was that's what the whole fun of the 1970s. At any point, your entire family could combust.
And do you then have to? How do you then make the asbestos play suit for all your kids to in case they get?
You worry too much. It's painfully difficult, but we are getting there. Right, that's taken rather a long time, but that is not... Oh, it is.
That is...
I was going to say, that's not very floppy, is it? No, don't do it. Look, I've made an absolute pig's ear of that, folks. Give me...
a couple of
10
days.
minutes. Go and play for 5 minutes. I'll sort it out.
This is separate, Peter. I believed in you.
All right, how can we cheat this?
See, Peter for me was always the honeypot. You know, he didn't do the dangerous sports, that was John's territory. He didn't do the makes, that was Val and Leslie. He basically stood in the background in fancy dress.
Do you know my problem is basically, I mean, he's having a little bit of trouble putting it together. I don't understand why he would want to in the first place. I'm still really lost on the 4 coat hangers held together with tinsel thing. Crown. I mean, still, for me, you at least are able to conceptualise what it is that might be finished if it were.
It's a Christmas decoration that's dangerous. I mean, now, really, what children's programme would incite you to create basically a Molotov cocktail made of tinsel?
Yeah, I reckon this is sort of... Well, it might be bomb-proof now, look at that.
3 Christmases have passed, Peter. You've missed so much, the world has changed.
Oh, dear. The secret weapon, I've got to own up.
Semtex.
That's the scene. Semtex would have been good.
Oh, that is good.
And I'll just...
You stab your
That's
hand.
not terribly good, that one. Oh, dear, and that's even worse.
Peter, to save time, should we just douse it in petrol and set fire to the whole thing?
I think that's probably what's going to happen.
Oh, dear.
But apart from that,
It's a genius. It's a
it
triumph.
would be wonderful, and it would hang up there, just like that. Small candles, and would set fire to your paper decorations in no time.
That's what we need a clear out anyway, to be honest. Why don't we just set fire to the whole room?
It's not a bad attempt.
What can I say?
Sorry. I think I'd better leave.
Yeah. You know where your coat is, don't you? Yeah.
Bye-bye, lovely to meet you.
You brought disgrace on the whole Blue Peter franchise. So, shocking.
A key part of self-sufficiency is raising livestock for food. Sadly, we've got a garden full of animals that were supposed to end up on the dinner table, but somehow never have. But I'm determined that our next arrivals will be on the plate come Christmas Day. Paul Kelly comes from a family of turkey breeders whose thoroughbred birds are a long way from the supermarket frozen turkeys that end up on most people's dinner tables at Christmas.
Hello.
Merry Christmas, your turkeys are here.
It's the Gobbling Guru.
It
How
is.
are you?
Very well, thank you.
These Kelly Brons are direct descendants of the first turkeys that came here from Mexico in the 1500s.
Here we go. Here's a good boy.
Oh, aren't they gorgeous?
It looks like a Doctor Who villain. A Doctor Who villain? I've never heard them call that before.
Davros.
So it's got a sort of unicorn kind of thing emerging from its forehead. Is that what delineates it as a boy turkey?
That's what's called a snood. Yeah, they use that for show, or they use it to fight. You can pick that up, and that will come out, you see?
Oh!
No, like bubblegum! That's what you call a snood.
Oh, and that's dangling there.
And if it's cold, they bring it in. Very tight.
Your snood's a bit like that.
Yeah. In cold weather like this, for example, it's...
It's virtually non-existent. I'm just looking at this neck and just thinking, is that going to be me in a few years' time? I mean, that's That's hello.
Pretty saggy.
Little pretty sacky.
There's lots of added extras.
That's his brush, you see.
That's amazing. That's yeah.
That's the male bit.
Oh, really? That's okay. That is.
No, that's not phallic or anything like that. No,
that.
that along with his snood there is his display, you see.
Do you think I should try and pick one up, just so I know that I can do it?
You can do. Hold one wing like that, yeah, and then you just hold his leg like that. That's it. And keep that leg out straight.
Really heavy.
Absolutely
Really heavy.
Marvellous.
Really heavy. Really heavy. I mean, actually, I heard the back crack there. I actually think I did a bit of turkey osteopathy. I think I've actually realigned the T4 there.
Giles might want to eat these turkeys, but as I know to my cost, he tends to shy away from ugly birds.
He's out during the day and he's in the corner of the garden.
Yeah, he doesn't want to be picked up, that's a shame. But yeah, that's
you
fine.
really don't want to do this,
I
know. I'll bring him back.
That's fine.
Come on, boy. Let Giles pick you up. So what you're going to do is his right wing,
yeah,
you get your hand like that.
So is Giles.
So you just, what, there? Bloody hell, you just pick him up there like a...
You can pick him up like that and then get the other wing, the other leg, like that, and just hold him up.
Ah!
Good boy.
You
haven't
go,
got the hang of that, have you?
Me? What are you saying?
You really
You're saying I'm just like a natural... You really haven't got the hang of that? That's I tell you, I have done falconry and it's easier than that.
Happy Christmas, guys.
Just getting out of the cold.
If you need a hand plucking them, just give us a ring.
Yeah, always need a hand plucking. I had an idea that they would be frightening and creepy. Facially, they sort of remind me a little bit of my grandmother.
But they really do make me want to eat turkey. I look at those things and I just see them plucked and trussed and stuffed with onions, turning on a spit.
See, sometimes in my darkest hour, I look at you and think that.
Turkeys are best slaughtered at 18 weeks old and should be killed at least 3 days before eating, so these will be around for a while yet. But there is one Christmas chore that can't be put off, one that requires us to plunder skills we haven't used since play school.
Christmas cards. How long since you embarked on the ancient art of potato printing?
I mean, I think I did it to GCSE and then...
Really? I did AS level. Ah, there you go.
I hope this works.
You're actually whittling the potato.
Yep. OK. It's almost done.
Oh dear, I was trying to do a Christmas tree and it's really a right old mess.
Oh, great, that hasn't really worked. I meant to say an S for Sue, but it's back to...
In Cyrillic.
Look! It says
yeah,
Sue,
it's
look!
Really,
it's S for Sue.
It looks like a prawn.
That looks like
it looks like a prawn with hypertension.
Why didn't someone tell me that printing happened backwards? Is this what happened to Caxton? How did he do the whole Bible?
Well, I think he probably just sat back and thought about it instead of just going like this.
To be that untouched by the fact that I have spent a good 5 minutes of my Christmas trying to make the first letter of your name. And I only did it because I thought it was easier to do than a G for Giles, and I've cut my thumb. What I always did as a child was start off really enthusiastically writing things and then realise that I'd run out of space for them.
No,
oh, God, yours is really quite good. Now I'm annoyed. And you've done a special sort of burnish on the berries.
Oh, yeah.
And mine is properly like a thing done by a 4-year-old.
No such thing as goat sausage.
And we're saving money by avoiding the Royal Mail and hand-delivering our Christmas cards with the help of 2 festively trimmed goats.
Look how they run towards the ankle grinder.
Although your average postman is probably less distracted by the shrubbery.
Merry Christmas! Sorry about your hedge!
Of course, our slightly slapdash, homemade approach to Christmas would not have suited everyone in the 1970s. For the more aspiring middle classes, nothing was left to chance.
A 9-foot tree is what I ordered, and a 9-foot tree is what I expect. I placed an entire order with your company, and until my entire order is delivered, according to my specifications, I will accept none of it.
Knows her own mind, doesn't she?
Oh, she does, she does.
Margaret, how many trees did you order, for heaven's sake?
Only one. The rest of the order is my complete...
Your Christmas comes in a van.
It's supposed to, Tom.
Showing off how many Christmas cards you'd received was only the first stage in meticulously planning the festive season.
Now, Jerry, have you invited the Templeton Peck round for punch?
Yeah.
Have you made the devils on horseback?
Yeah.
Have you rested your mince pies?
Yes.
Have you decked the halls with boughs of holly?
Yeah.
Have you enabled a star to shine brightly in the east, thus guiding the shepherds?
Well, the shepherds from number 43?
Yes.
No, I think they're just going to ring the bell.
But for the smallholder in winter, there are more pressing concerns than planning drinks parties. Such as making sure you've planted enough winter vegetables to keep the animals alive.
You know, in the Middle Ages, they used to have to kill the animals in the autumn because otherwise they would just die. They'd thin away, kill them when they're fattest, salt them, keep them for the winter. Introduction of sort of vegetables like turnips and swedes and kohlrabi and things that would, you know, could still grow in the ground even after the frost, meant that you could keep on feeding the animals, keep them fat through the winter, have plenty of food. So I've cut it up into cubes. I think they'll be OK with the cubes. Many smallholders will do a julienne, very finely chopped sort of ribbons of turnip. OK, piggies. Happy Christmas. Look at that. Specially grown for you.
The great thing about pigs is that they'll eat pretty much anything.
Go on, then. There you go, piggies, look.
Well, most pigs will.
Come on. That's good. Well, I'm glad I went to all that effort. You know what's happened? I haven't chopped them small enough. They're going, you expect me to eat this? What do you want? You want the there you go. Go on, have that. Yum, 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 look. They're quite thick pigs, despite what people say. Yeah, well, I'm coming back tomorrow with a butcher's knife.
Well, if Sue and I don't want to be eating turnips every day, we'd better start preserving what's left of the harvest.
Oh, I managed it. It's still...
We're making an apple chutney from a 1978 Reader's Digest cookbook. Even if it turns out to be inedible, we can always give it away as Christmas presents.
I've received chutney for Christmas many times.
Have you ever eaten it?
No, it's the worst present in the world, chutney.
Really is. Why does everything you do have to be aggressive? Even
It's not!
apples.
I've actually chopped one. Well, you're still on your first
No,
apple,
I'm
and
on my second.
this is two now.
I'm on my second.
No, you're not. That's
Why
your
are you
first.
doing it competitive? Why
I'm
is
not
it
doing it
always
competitively.
competitive
It's
chutney?
not competitive.
It is. Look, because you're doing this competitive-y thing with the...
What competitive-y thing? What are you talking about?
Hate being left-handed.
You can't use it as an excuse, because I'm left-handed and I'm doing fine. Not that I'm being competitive.
This may well be the most stressful craft artisan baking session I've ever had. Can you imagine you let loose in the WI? They'd have hypertension in a nanosecond. It's that wrist action. You can see. I just don't have that. We need 1 kilo of onions, or £2 in old money. £2.
That's a kilo of onions.
Right, now we've got to peel and chop those.
It's really depressing.
Where have you gone now? Oh, not the axe. Oh, Christ, no. At what point did we say we were going to do this properly?
There we are. That doesn't work. Is it Christmas yet?
4 pints of malt vinegar. Now, think of the 70s, OK? Think of tooth rotting, OK? Just teeth would now have disintegrated now. But this is the 70s, so that's just the beginning of the story. So there you go. Just at this point, you've got diabetes. Just there, you've gone past the diabetic threshold. And just when you think that's enough, you then hit coma. That's why we need another 2 pints.
Apples are quite sweet in themselves.
Unbelievably, the recipe really does demand 2 kilograms of sugar.
Oh, that's so sweet. It actually just sort of dries your whole body. I feel like you're like a reptile within 30 seconds.
Oh!
It's basically Christmas swill, isn't it? That's what it looks like.
But all may not be lost. Perhaps a few hours stewing will transform this into delicious chutney. Or not.
While we wait, I've sent Giles out to bring some festive style to the chicken coop, so that I can start thinking about presents. But what do you get for, quite possibly, the fussiest man in Britain? A man who already has everything. It's time to call in the heavy hitters. Well, heavy knitters, anyway.
Fabulous, come in, come in. Thank you.
I've joined a knitting circle, and they're bringing over some cutting-edge 1970s knitwear designs, which should be perfect for Giles. But first things first, technique, or lack of.
Now, you said this is moss stitch.
You're not just doing moss stitch, you're doing double moss stitch.
Double reverse transcendental moss stitch. God, I'm really going off piece now. This is extreme knitting.
It really is extreme.
This is the Channel 5 documentary they're too frightened to show. The thing that obviously one remembers at Christmas in the 70s is the curse of it being given a jumper with always a ski scene. My dad once had a very busy Nordic chest at one point. And basically it was sort of the whole of the Scandinavian culture was represented on his moobs. I mean, these are fantastic knitting patterns, these. I mean, for the start, this is the sort of Obi-Wan Kenobi, the sort of wool version for your inner kind of Jedi. And this obviously proves that people in the 70s hadn't worked out that wool wasn't the most waterproof material. A pair of basically woolen swimming shorts and cape.
That reminds me as a child.
You had a knitted swimsuit?
I had a knitted swimsuit.
You're joking?
I am not joking.
That's horrible. When someone gives you a woolen swimsuit, they're basically saying, welcome to the world of X-Men.
Oh, God.
Yeah. That's my childhood there. I'll put them to one side because they're actually frightening me. I think, though, when it comes to Giles, I'm going to go for... because he just loves bright colours. Right. He really loves them. And he's not at all frightened about his masculinity.
Do you think you'll go for the yellow or the red?
What do you think? I think maybe the yellow.
I think so too.
Good, yeah. It goes...
I think you'll love that.
I think he will love that. I think you're absolutely right.
Now that's a jumper for a man's man.
Back in the kitchen, our sugar rush chutney is starting to look a bit like, well, chutney, oddly.
Sugar, mainly. Vinegar and sugar again.
That's basically chutney, isn't it?
I'm not sure chutney usually comes with a health warning, but you can never be too careful.
There's something really weird tasting on my hands. Oh, it's
That'll be chutney.
And nothing goes better with chutney than some leftover roast turkey on Boxing Day. Blissfully unaware of their impending execution, our turkeys seem to be making themselves at home. They've even started gobbling, which is a happy turkey's way to communicate and to attract females. It appears to have worked.
Now I've learnt to talk to them. I mean, it's a bit of a samey conversation, to be honest. I'm not getting a lot back. That's it. I mean, they can't do whole sentences yet.
What about?
No, it's got to be.
Why can't I speak? I can speak French. I can
no,
it
you
gobbled
need
at
to
your
speak
laugh.
Turkish. That's the thing.
They never start a conversation, do they?
No, I tell you, the response is always the same, which is, sorry, I no speak English. That's all they say.
Gobbling or not, these turkeys will be in the oven come Christmas.
But there is something else you need to make the Christmas meal go with a bang.
Crackers! Crackers!
Done. Ta-da!
Good God. Yes, none of your shop-bought rubbish. Now, there's a trick with these, all right? They're perfectly all right, they're perfectly sound, except they do not go bang. So, and bang!
1, 2, 3.
Crack.
Come on, Margot, get your hat on.
This is the Daily Mirror.
I am terribly sorry, Margot. Please, have the Telegraph.
You're not serious we're going to make Christmas crackers?
Why not? If you're going to embrace self-sufficiency, you can't cherry-pick, you've got to go for it, totally.
Given that I suppose even a bought Christmas cracker is always rubbish,
exactly.
They do look poor. Have you been walking down the street with a basket full of collected items saying, have you got any bog rolls?
No, I've had a terrible bout of food poisoning. So every cracker needs a joke, a hat, a gift. But should we do the jokes as well? Let's do the jokes first. So.
You want us to sort of sit here and write some jokes?
Well, I mean, it's the first time for everything in my life.
So what's that? What's the difference between a kangaroo and a kangaroot?
One's a marsupial and the other one is a Geordie trapped in a lift. A kangaroo. A kangaroo. A kangaroo. A kangaroo. It's not a particularly 70s joke, but I like it.
We've managed to get hold of authentic 70s newspapers. You know, proper old ones that smell of your nan's loft.
Oh, look, I'm cutting through Richard Nixon's mouth. It's going to be a prime hat. Just sort of...
Although the fact that they're old won't change the fact that our crackers are made of toilet rolls.
It's quite old, it's vintage.
But at least that'll save us money.
As usual, I have to flag up that it is a joke, because it won't necessarily sound like one.
So you're doing the joke writing and I'm doing the stuff for slightly thick people.
Never have we been so miscast.
Well, I'm the hat maker. That's fine. Put the Jew in a corner and get him to do the tailoring. That's nice.
That's nice.
Let's pull a cracker. Pinch it quite hard so we get the thing. Are you ready?
I'm 40. The ancient art of cracker opening has made itself clear to me over the years.
No, but this is because I made these crackers and I'm worried that they won't work. OK, you remember to pinch it.
The most miserable cracker.
It's me that didn't pinch it, wasn't it?
Basically, you hold
was the worst.
rolled up newspaper, dressed like a sort of...
I spent hours making these. I'm actually genuinely quite sad.
I wrote jokes and everything.
You've got to have patience. Give it back to me.
Kindling.
This had a really nice
It's
picture.
Christmas kindling.
Oh, it's ruined. Oh, pinch it really, really hard.
If you say pinch it hard, really, really hard, then I will, I swear to God, put my hand underneath the table and pinch something
Pinch it
really,
hard.
really hard. Oh, walnut! Right.
And a hat.
I'm gone. I'm getting out of here.
Oh, hang a minute. What do you call a man with a pole in his trousers
Duck.
being... Yeah, it's Rodney.
As Christmas Day approaches, the list of tasks for the smallholder just seems to get longer and longer. Giles's jumper needs knitting.
Done it in brown, the colour of disappointment, and coincidentally the colour of the 70s. And the bottom I've ribbed for his mild displeasure.
The goat still needs milking.
And I've even found time to knock up a plasticine robin for the Yule log, so lifelike it would shame Michelangelo.
Everything I do surprises me by being sort of OK. Now it looks quite snowy, and it's actually pretty marvellous.
But we're still deficient in the present-making department, so Sue's asked a local craftsman to help us out. Guy Mallinson is a green woodwork guru and has set up a sort of eco-torture chamber in the garage. He doesn't use electric machinery, which means that we have to do all the hard work.
Fro.
Oh, that's arousing.
Right.
I mean, that is... God, look at that.
Hold it.
Oh, yeah.
First of all, we're shown how to cleave a massive piece of sycamore wood into a smaller piece of sycamore wood so that we can craft it into something wooden.
Looks like it's getting slightly easier. So what contraption is this? It looks like something a Tory MP would pay good money to lie on. What actually is it?
It's a shaving horse. So it's the old-fashioned...
I think I've sat on one of those at a clinic.
Sit in here.
What quickly becomes apparent is that there's considerable risk involved in green woodwork.
And you cut towards yourself.
Oh, no. Still, I mean, I suppose it's like a DIY tummy tuck, isn't it? I mean, if it goes wrong, I mean, at least you could lose a few kilos off the old stomach.
That's it, brilliant.
As I get closer to my ghoulies, I start to wonder if this could be women's work.
Then I'll step in.
Yeah, keep pushing.
No, I'm rubbish.
When you're doing it that way, move it up there. Just to avoid there's an artery in there you really don't want to cut.
Oh!
Which of the arteries I do want to cut again?
One of the other ones.
All this just to make a wooden spatula.
Yeah.
It's very wacky.
Brace yourself.
Yeah.
Oh! Thank you very much.
Quite serious.
Yeah.
You went for upper thigh rather than arse.
Yeah,
As a hardened professional.
I think we can stop there because that's as a paddle, it might be more advantageous. I don't do a lot of cooking, but I do a lot of S&M. Yeah.
Having conquered the spatula, we're now introduced to the pole lathe. But I've got no idea what we're supposed to be making.
Gradually go down to a point there. So slide your hand further along the tool. That's it.
I'd assume you'd have a greater degree of mastery over your own tool. Yeah.
Start there.
Yeah.
And then lift it up until it digs in.
I think like a lot of girls, she's gripping the tool too hard and moving it too fast.
Is that what it is?
Yeah. Possibly as a way to provide Christmas presents for people, it's not going to be the most effective way. It's taken us 3 hours to get a spatula and make a cylindrical thing slightly bumpy. If we really want to give sort of cylindrical and flat presents out of pieces of wood to our friends, probably better to swap Guy some eggs in return for some made things.
Apparently, we've made a dibber, a tool for planting seeds in the garden.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
Pleasure.
It's an Olympic-sized dibber.
It's useful for all sorts of different things there. It's a very good doorbell pusher. With all this self-sufficiency thing, even though this is Guy's a bit disappointed with us, so that's not really a terrific, even first effort, but feels like a back to basics thing. It feels like you've got a grip on real life.
And the whole point is it is slightly imperfect, or grossly imperfect, depending on how closely you look at it. But that's the joy of it.
Slightly imperfect, as if we've had to make it a little bit not too perfect, although people will think we got it from Harrods.
Back in the garden, the turkeys are still gobbling away and waking the neighbours up at 4 in the morning. But the great thing is, they won't be around for long. Unlike puppies, turkeys are just for Christmas. But I do have one concern.
Right, into the kitchen with you, little fella.
Are they too big for the oven?
Basil! OK, well, oh boy, let's calm down. What do you think? Now, can we have a little look inside? Come on. Let's have a look. Come on. Just have a... Do you think you feel comfy in there? We'll put the potatoes in. Look, it's not... And then there's the onions. And if you just hop in there... Here. Come on. If you just hop in here, you sit on top of the thing and then melt down over the onions and the potatoes. It'll make a really nice kind of sticky... And pour a bottle of wine in. I think it's too big for the oven. OK, look, you stay there. I'm going to go and see if the other one's a bit smaller. If you want to start chopping the courgettes and the Brussels sprouts, that'd be ideal.
I suppose I'll have to give roasting the turkeys a bit more thought, or it'll be goat's cheese omelette for Christmas dinner.
Which would be easy for us to make, as eggs are the one thing we never seem to have in short supply.
Come on, get out. Sue, catch him.
What do you mean, Sue, catch him? Oh, cheer.
But we've still not mastered the art of putting the chickens to bed.
Come on!
No!
No, what point of being the gatekeeper did you not understand? Right, I'm taking it from under the house.
Oh, man. Man, that's in the coat.
It's actually dumped on me. It's actually done a poo on me.
Oh, man.
Well, that's a job that doesn't get any easier, does it?
With all the daily grind of the smallholder at this time of year, it's easy to forget to put the merry into Christmas. So it's time to put our surplus of eggs to good use and make some mildly alcoholic eggnog.
It's basically scrambled eggs with booze, I think. And the good thing is if you get drunk and fall over, you won't get brittle bone syndrome, because nothing will get damaged because there's so much dairy in it. I shall crack on.
We're going to both crack eggs like this.
We can separate them on getting faster.
Oh, balls! Oh. You put me off.
It's the 1970s, so I'm just using a very small amount of sugar.
A creamy concoction of eggs, sugar and milk. Eggnog also contains a hefty amount of brandy and rum.
You need to get stiff peaks.
Yeah, and what about the eggs?
Something so extraordinarily sleazy about pouring a pint of rum into a vat. Of basically making trapped custard.
It is hot.
First cut is the deepest.
It comes back, doesn't it?
It's basically like eating liquidised potpourri. I think I pour the milk in now, don't I? Oh, dear. Basically what I've made is a booze frappuccino. It's...
No! I'm going to fold it in. How do you fold into that?
So you just fold it in like that.
I think our eggnog recipe may need some refinement.
I don't know what level of folding one thinks that is.
That's all right.
That's fit to feed the pigs with.
Oh!
And as if there wasn't enough dairy, it's now time to add the cream.
Mmm! That looks good enough to throw on a roadside. Oh, it's great. Mmm. Mmm. It's got that drink in it. You think it's a drink, and then the chewing starts. I've lost my hearing. I'm just going for seconds. Oh, I've got the scum off the top. That's lovely. My hair suddenly feels much more lustrous.
It is. It is. It's much more lustrous.
It is, isn't it? I can't sweat.
You've had too much brandy again.
Happy days. Now we're back. We're back.
Maybe we've both had too much eggnog, as we decide the only way we have a chance of getting any decent presents is to send letters to Father Christmas up the chimney.
Dear Santa, I have not done anything wrong, bar claiming this is my real hair. It is my real hair. All I want for Christmas is... I'd like a cure for the hangover that I've got. A cream hangover, cream-based hangover cure. A zebra. The invention of fabrics in a colour other than brown. Is that put in there? My vision is quite milky.
It takes us several days to get over our eggnog hangover, and before we know it, it's Christmas Eve, and we have a party to prepare for. Our neighbours have been very tolerant of our efforts at self-sufficiency, so we've decided to invite them over to sing a few carols over a glass or two of hot apple cider.
But before we start on the catering, we need to light the range. Something you'd have thought we'd have got the hang of by now.
Now, should we shut it?
No, I'm just enjoying the fumes. It's like a Catholic Mass.
Now we should put it out with some of this smoke.
Oh, no, this is your throwing technique when it all comes back again.
Well, we don't have any...
This is the repressed engine driver, isn't it?
What's that for?
You can't... yeah, go on then. Pick up several lumps with that then. That's going to be good. You're such an expert. Oh, good. So there's more dust and coal on the floor than there was.
If it was just you and I at the dawn of civilization, then humanity never would have got off the ground.
Seeing as we can barely light the oven, we've asked no-nonsense cook Sophie Grigson to come and take control of the kitchen and help us to bake some biscuits for the carol concert.
It looks like an exorcism.
Woo, yes. What's in the world?
Sophie's brought her earring collection.
How'd you guess? No, they're biscuit cutters. That's what we mentioned, biscuits.
Nice.
You're good at biscuits, aren't you? Am I?
You know I'm not Anthea Turner, don't you? Yes.
Making gingerbread biscuits should be a simple affair, starting by heating syrup with sugar.
You're just meant to be dissolving the sugar gently.
Unfortunately, this range only has one heat setting, which is thermonuclear.
This hot mixture is then added to butter and bicarb of soda.
As much as you
Come
can,
on,
every
get in
last
there.
drop. Without burning anybody.
Ow, ow, ow. You can do it. It's all very hot. Carry on.
There you go.
Burning sugar. Ow,
Very quick battle of the sexes one there.
Before you beat in the flour to make dough. Sounds simple.
Oh, for heaven's sake, Giles.
No. I think there's enough. No.
Look, when he gets the
That's enough flour. It'll get too
There's
stiff.
not enough flour.
Look, she's a cook. You are not. You're just a sweaty man beating flour.
Guys, you're worse than children. Can you get on with
We
it?
are. We
You
are.
are.
We are not. Go away, you. Everyone smells. Look at him, permanently obsessed with cradling a sweaty ball.
Can you just give it to me? Giles?
Give it to her, otherwise she'll hit us again.
Give me the dough now. Thank you.
Whoa, that was fairly scary.
Yeah.
Sophie, this is the sort of thing that prisoners do for sort of recreation and rehabilitation.
That's what you think they do in prison? Sit around and make Christmas cakes?
Well, then they should do.
Why don't you pop that one into the oven for
Into
now?
the bin. Yeah.
No, on the lowest shelf. That should take about 15 minutes.
Now, I've put something at the top to test the hypothesis that the oven is cooler lower down.
Is that good? OK.
Heat rises, doesn't it? I mean, I know that, and I'm technically stupid.
It's still a hypothesis.
After just 5 minutes, Sue decides to check the oven.
You want to check them now?
Well, it shouldn't be ready yet.
Oh, my God. It's taken 2 seconds in the burn. It's like basically placing them inside cellophane. They've got a half-life, these biscuits.
Do you not have a cool bit of oven?
Well, no, what's happened on the top? What's happened on the top of the oven?
Giles, you're right. They do.
You can't cook something that fast. That's not a good thing, is it?
Jesus was born under a carbonised star.
Oh, it tastes like pillows.
Well, they don't cook through.
It's burnt but raw at the same time. Honestly, this is when the only thing I've ever cooked is gingerbread. When I was a child, I made these better than these when I was 3.
Do you think if we just ice them, nobody will know?
Yeah.
Nobody will know.
While we attempt a cover-up operation, things are just going from bad to worse for Sophie.
Oh, dear. dear, oh,
I've
very
got a
dear.
blood nozzle.
We're going to leave you now, Sophie, to think about what you've done.
We're going to go hang them on the tree.
Happy Christmas.
Happy Christmas.
Move down to the chocolate shop.
I think put these in a stocking, and they will.
And then
be
hit a burglar with it. Oh, we're certainly not going to eat them.
No, God, I wouldn't want to touch them. I think Sophie is a masterful food guru, and I think this may have been one of just a handful of mistakes in her illustrious career in food.
But you wouldn't want to live in a house built by her and Peter Purves.
But the biscuits will have to do, as there's plenty more for us to prepare. A nativity scene is, of course, essential to any carol concert, even if you have to replace the donkey with a goat and Jesus with a teddy bear.
Very cuddlesome little baby Jesus. It needs to be elevated, otherwise the goats will eat Jesus, and that's the end of the nativity. I mean, it's a different ending to the story, but...
Why don't we hang him from...
That's a bit precarious for the Son of God, isn't it?
He's the Son of God. I think he'd be fine whatever we do with him,
Well,
isn't
you're
it?
treating him like
But
he's a hanging basket. There's like
you
gust of
understand
wind.
the whole point? Haven't you seen Raiders of the Lost Ark? The point is he was really humble. He wouldn't have cared
He's
about...
humble, but not airborne.
There's a child who could fly, like in the early days of Superman. So that's one of them.
That's good. The new Yasser Arafat range of garden tools.
Right, OK.
There. Hang a star. This will give the Three Wise garden implement something to follow.
How about that? I mean,
Well, it looks like he's being displayed, then, for a toy shop.
Well, he looks like he's got a sort of baby seat on. I mean, it's really not Jesus, is it? It's a teddy bear.
What do you mean it's not Jesus? You've got a natural fatherly way about you, which women will find very tantalising.
Yeah.
To help us all sing in tune, I've persuaded a local brass band to come along in exchange for a few burnt biscuits.
Merry Christmas! You brought the horn to Christmas. Come on, in you come.
All we need now are some guests.
While Sue naturally takes control of the music, I'm left in charge of looking after the neighbours. Although Sue is rather better with her baton than I am with my mulled cider.
I think it's going really well. It's going really well. It's going really well, isn't it?
The party.
Hi, my finger.
Sorry.
I've got the Christmas claw. Don't give me another one. Stop just pouring it over my fingers. Okay. Right, Carol's next.
Who's Carol? And does she look nice in a hat?
Our spirits are truly lifted. Maybe it's just the apple cider. What more do you need at Christmas than a few songs with a few friends?
But for some people, a carol concert is not nearly sophisticated enough.
A cloth, please, Jerry. Antonia's been careless with her coleslaw.
In the 1970s, the cocktail party represented the height of sophistication in suburbia.
Going well, isn't it, darling?
And keeping up with the latest trends in cocktails was vital.
Using Arabella Boxer's Christmas recipe book, a Bible for the festive suburban hostess, the neighbours are deciding what cocktail to serve at their upcoming New Year's Eve party. First up, Black Velvet, a combination of champagne and Guinness.
God, that's revolting, isn't it?
Awful, but yet compelling.
The bullshot reflects the increasing popularity of vodka in the 1970s. There is also a distinctly bovine influence.
1 part Campbell's tinned beef. I love a beefy cocktail.
That's about equal. That's about... Well, then I'll put it in. That's enough.
It's got a slight tang of the abattoir.
Oh. Oh.
In terms of all the things I've put in my mouth, and that's a very long and unpleasant list, that may well be number one.
Did they not salt this stuff?
What, you think salt beef is better?
Next up, gin fizz.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
You've been learning. Look at the old...
Oh!
Wow. Do you want me to... Oh! Cheers. Bottoms up.
Mmm.
That's a lovely gin, though, by the way. Snowball. To make a snowball cocktail, 2 measures of Avocar. Just need to taste it.
Before Bailey's, Advocaat was the gloopy liqueur of choice in the 1970s.
Ooh, dear.
Only instead of cream,
That's enough.
it was egg-based.
Good health.
That's all right. Finished.
Needs a little bit of... Is there anything that you will pour out of a bottle that will not go down my tits?
The beef was still in there from the other drink.
Now I'm feeling Christmassy. You ready?
Oh, for heaven's sake.
Come on, I'm drinking. It's such a lightweight.
We were supposed to be making a valuable point about 1970s middle-class excess. But somewhere between the beef consomme and the gin fizz, we sort of forgot.
I quite like the look of that fairy.
Good lad, good lad. Good lad.
That's better.
Happy Christmas.
Who's a snob? What are you thinking?
Avocado. And a very happy Christmas to everybody watching.
Merry Christmas to you all. Careful with the stuff on the carpet.
Campari on the floor. Campari on the floor. Oh.
Back in the garden, it's bedtime for the animals. There's just one more piece of decorating to do.
Yay! Look.
Well, I can see the pigs are thrilled. We've illuminated their turd bath.
They wanted Duncan from Blue to turn up and do it. They're very disappointed. Merry Christmas, chickens. Do you think they're thinking, I wonder what we'll get for Christmas tomorrow? I wonder what Santa will bring.
Sage and onion.
Yeah. Night-night.
Happy Christmas, goats. It's all terribly Christmassy, really, isn't it?
All right, sleep well. Night-night. Happy Christmas.
And as we put the finishing touches to our homemade Christmas, we leave a little something for Santa and hope he'll leave us some decent presents.
OK, so it's not really Christmas Eve. We'll still be dreaming of a white one.
Wakey, wakey! Santa's been.
Can I just say, you're the most heavy-handed Santa. I imagine Santa as this magical presence. My foot
I've
was
come
crushed.
up this morning trying to do my best, and all I've got is criticism. We must still be married. Happy Christmas. I brought you a Fanta hat so you wouldn't feel left out.
I like that. I like the idea that Santa also is sort of has a rather make, do and mend approach to his packaging. It looks like something that I might be using to inseminate the pigs. Oh, the gift of splinters for Christmas. Nice! spatula.
I'm doing that, yeah. Ooh. Go on then.
Oh, a Christmas... Hang on, I'm just
No,
warming the area.
actually, no, because
I
was bent too
come
tight.
on.
Come on, but nice and...
I'm going to warm in the area with a little patting.
Spank, yeah.
Ready?
Yeah.
Bend forward a little bit more.
Yeah.
Oh! Oh, I enjoyed that.
I really hope I get some Peapod brandy. Oh, what's this? Please tell me it's some actual grog that you stole from a shop.
No.
The Good Life, Peapod Burgundy.
Won't be Christmas. The gift of oblivion is yours.
It's amazing what you can get by buttering a few eggs.
I'll be quite the little garden fox with these trotters. Thank you.
They're really rather hungry, aren't they?
I like them a lot.
Just wear them with a pair of black knickers and the Santa hat.
Presumably you grew them from, what, seed?
Yeah, yeah, pretty much.
No. I hope you like yours. I spent quite a lot of time on it.
I hope all those hours of double moss stitching, or whatever it was, have paid off.
Sex tiger.
Oh, it's a bumblebee disguise.
It's for the local fete when you're playing a variety of brightly coloured insects.
And it comes with its own... This is a little manual that shows me how to unpick it and turn it back into a ball of wool and sell it.
Nice.
There's so much still yet to come. It's only Christmas morning. Have a look, make sure the turkeys are happy. It's not a fight, but they won't expect a bit of Merry Christmas from me. Good Lord! It's snowing!
Snow machines are such fun. Really sticks in your throat, though, this stuff.
That's quite a draw.
Well, happy Christmas. Inside for some eggnog.
Well, this is all very festive, but there's still the problem of what we're going to have for Christmas dinner, as our turkeys are still very much alive. Luckily for us, Christmas is a time of goodwill.
It's Santa Claus.
Hey, it's the Red Berry. Mary Berry, author of 70 cookery books that have sold over 5 million copies, has taken time out of her Christmas to cook for us. She's even brought us a turkey to cook, because we chickened out of killing ours.
Thank you so much for bringing the turkey, because obviously Sue wouldn't let us kill our turkeys. Someone presumably had to kill this one.
Oh,
or is he still alive and is he in with the child?
No, he's ready.
I just couldn't do it, Mary. I tried hypnotising them, singing to get them to sleep, but no, I couldn't go for the killer blow, I'm sorry.
And they looked at you straight in the eye. Shall we do some stuffing of it? This one's a real toughie.
I'm glad you had the manicure done before you did this.
Oh, I did. Absolutely knew I was coming. So we've got the lemon, we've got breadcrumbs, the sausage meat, parsley, and thyme. You're going to feed it in there. Don't feed it all at once.
Oh, right.
Little bits.
A little bit of delay there.
Yeah.
You're letting that turkey know who's boss.
I know. Well, we want to get as much in as we can. And there, you see how my fingers are coming up there? Lots more space. Come on, pop it in.
So it's up.
Push it up. That's it. Look.
How odd that while Sue wouldn't let me kill our turkeys, she's quite happy to ram a fistful of pork meat into a dead one so that it'll taste better.
Turkey mitten for Christmas.
That's it. You want to do some spreading butter all over.
How much do we need? Say how much?
Well.
How much?
OK.
Finally, Giles's avian massage course pays off.
That's it.
What are you doing, the turkey Kama Sutra?
He's trying to get the legs up there. Actually, keep it steady. But
that is not right.
It has become slightly slippery, that's the thing.
I think there's a reason that nature meant for a turkey's legs not to go up his own backside.
And now I think it's ready for the oven.
I think of this cooker like Dungeness Power Station. It's got the same levels of heat coming off it.
And while we wait for the range to incinerate the turkey, there's plenty more to be done.
This is looking good.
Well, plenty more for Mary to do.
And no reason why we can't use the same spoon. Just going to add a bit more butter to that. And that'll be lovely to give a nice shine on the sprouts. The water is boiling rapidly. I've remembered to put some salt in it. And so in they go.
So, Mary, are you going to stay for Christmas lunch with us?
I think I've got my lot to go home, and I think you can manage.
Listen, as a thank you gift, we've given you some of our very special courgette Sauvignon Blanc.
Oh!
Once tasted, never remembered.
I think I might not get as far as Boxing Day.
Somehow, Mary's influence has even had a positive effect on the range,
Happy Christmas.
Bye!
as the turkey comes out perfectly cooked.
Look, have a... Is that too much?
I love the way you serve it with a knife just pointing straight into my heart.
Well, you got a lot of leg meat. What I've basically got is a huge turkey bum-shaped sausage.
After weeks of preparations, we're finally sitting down to Christmas dinner. We've delivered Christmas cards, made each other presents, and designed homemade crackers. Frankly, we're exhausted. To be honest, I'm in the mood for a nap. But Sue has other ideas.
If things need a bit of a lift after Christmas dinner, then playing party games and making a fool of yourself in front of family and friends is a good way to round off the day.
Sorry, partner.
No, it was luck, just luck.
It was not.
We've not got any friends. But we do have family. Sort of. So I've coaxed the animals into the living room to join in the fun and games. After all, it is their Christmas too.
Goats are loving the canapé.
You never let me do that in front of the telly.
OK, so balloon game. Tell you what, there's a lot of friction coming off your genitals. Woo! That's a way to play the balloon game. What a rare and beautiful thing it is to save animals, so you can actually wish a turkey happy Christmas face to face. It's eating a light bulb.
What is
It's actually eating a light bulb. It's the David Blaine of cloven animals.
No,
It
it's
really
not.
is.
It's worse. It's eating one of those biscuits.
So, as the animals consume the last of the food, our first sort of self-sufficient Christmas is drawing to a close.
I sort of smell like I've been rough sleeping in a compost heap for the best part of 2 decades. But that notwithstanding, it's been a thoroughly enjoyable experience, and the animals are happy and we're happy, and just because you don't have a lot of money in your pocket doesn't mean that you can't be well fed and incredibly well boozed. I've got a couple of duodenal ulcers, obviously from the Peapod Burgundy, but it's a small price to pay for what has been at times a euphoric high that I've got off that liquor.
I think we both had a lovely Christmas. Sue's very happy because we've had an illusion of animal husbandry and a big roast without killing any of the animals. Well, Christmas wouldn't be Christmas without swapping bodily fluids.
I'm sorry, I should have wiped my mouth before I kissed the goat. I'm sorry I kissed a goat first.
That one was goat shit.
Yeah, that one was, wasn't it?
After Albert Square with EastEnders here on BBC HD tonight at 11:30. And comedy next, it's Shooting Stars.